Yo, g'day, VC, it's JJ here, Jazzy Jason, the Jazz Warlock. It's Friday night here in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia, the greatest city on earth. And I've just returned from work and just taking it easy. And I just want to do a little post on some records on this beautiful Friday night here in Hobart, Tasmania. Because Friday night is a special night for me, and part of the reason I'm so into jazz and vinyl in recent times. Friday night's always been a night for me to relax and take stock of the week and play some records. And it used to be alternative, indie, country and soul, and just recently it's been the new passion, jazz. That's what they call me, the Jazz Warlock. So what are we going to talk about today? I want to talk about drummers. Yesterday we talked about the great tenor sax players and my favourites. But one of the reasons I really took to jazz, I think, is because of the drums. Good drumming just makes a band. I'm a bit of a muso myself, and one thing I've always thought, if you can get a good drummer, you're already on your way to sounding good. And the jazz drummers really are the best of the best. They match it with the greats like John Bonham and Ringo Starr and of that ilk. So I just wanted to talk about some of my favourite drummers in jazz. Once again, no obscure names here. They're heroes for a reason, because bam, they can play. Firstly, and this sort of leads into this topic, because what are we listening to? On the stereo here, I'm running with Gretchen Moncur III with his unbelievable Blue Note album, Evolution. So Gretchen Moncur, trombonist, but this is a all-star lineup, as most 60s Blue Notes are. And firstly, let's just take in the amazing pink cover, unbelievable. And we've got Lee Morgan trumpet, Jackie McLean, of course, on sax, Bobby Hutchison, the vibe master, Bob Crenshaw on bass, and the great Tony Williams on drums. So most people will know Tony Williams as being the young drum wizard on Blue Note. He partnered with his great bassist mate, Mr. Ron Carter, on so many massive Blue Notes throughout the years, and he was part of Miles Davis' second great quintet. Of course, he's got his own solo career, but I always found Tony Williams, or Anthony Williams, as the king of the ride. No one rides the ride rhythms like Tony Williams, and he's on so many amazing records. Tony Williams, first up on Under the Needle. So who are some of the other great drummers that I love? Well, okay, bam, the great, the one and the only Art Blakey. For many, this is the main man of drums. Played with Mars, played with John Coltrane. He's played, obviously, he sort of harnessed the talents of some of the most up-and-coming jazzers in the 50s and 60s, took them under his wing and made them stars and let them fly, and to become even bigger stars. It all started with the hard bop drive of one of the greatest drummers of all time, Art Blakey. If you want that hard poppin' jazz, no one does it as good as Art. And this is a really good example of that, this album, Indestructible. So this is a reissue recently done on the Blue Note 80 series, which I'm a really big fan of. The pressings are really great, and this is a relatively new album for me. Love every track on it. The Egyptian, When Love Is New, yeah, just fantastic example of one of the greats, the true greats, Art Blakey. Art Blakey, is he my favourite? He could be, but it's Art Blakey, or is it Elvin Jones? So Mr. Elvin Jones, most people know him as being part of the John Coltrane Quartet. Great albums, of course, like My Favourite Things and Olé and A Love Supreme. I mean, check out song 3 of A Love Supreme. The drum solo in that song is as good as you'll ever hear. But he did a lot of other drumming for other people, and this is one that I really love. It's by Larry Young, Into Something. That is such a cool cover, guys. It's Larry Young. Of course, Larry Young is a organ player, and this is a Blue Note reissue. I think it's one of the, I don't know if it's one of the 75-year anniversary. It's just another reissue, but amazing organ album. Features Sam Rivers on tenor, Grant Green, who I have spoken about previously, and of course Elvin Jones. Elvin Jones is the most manic, crazy drummer that you're ever going to hear, but he somehow keeps it all in. He keeps it in the beat. But how can he fit so much in? He manages to do it. No one drums like Elvin. He's got a lot of solo albums. Done some albums with Jimmy Garrison on Impulse. He's done a lot with Larry Young. He's worked with Joe Henderson on some of his massive track albums in the 60s. Yeah, I'm saying it. Sorry, Mr. Blakey. Elvin's my man. An amazing drummer. This is a really great album that I don't see around all that much. It's one that you can just put on and just... You're annoyed when the side ends. You flip it over, you play the next side. You're annoyed that the things end. You just want it to keep playing. Great album. Here's one drummer that I've only heard a little bit of. He did some work with Charles Lloyd. A bit of a solo guy. I think he may have worked with Coltrane for a short time. This one is, this is the one I wanted to show though. His name is Pete LaRocca. And this is Joe Henderson's debut album, page 1 on Blue Note, of course. This features McCoy Tyner. You'll see here that it says, etc. McCoy Tyner, the great pianist, was contracted with Impulse at the time, so he was doing some guest spots on Blue Note and they couldn't name him on the front cover. But I love Pete LaRocca. Very similar type of drummer to Elvin Jones. He's got a couple of his own albums which I've heard digitally, and I just cannot wait to get Basra, which has just been reissued on Blue Note 80 series. I'm waiting for that to come all the way down here to Hobart sometime soon, because as soon as it does, bam, 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 the Jazz Warlock is snapping that bad boy up. But in the meantime, I will enjoy his drumming on this sort of mellow sort of album by Joe Henderson. He sort of certainly ramps it up as his career progresses. This is great. Blue bossa, he's got that sort of bossa nova sort of sound. Recorder Me, Out of the Night. This is a really good album. Joe Henderson's first featuring Pete LaRocca. That's all I've got in terms of jazz drummers. Just one more, because this is my favourite drummer of all time. We're not talking jazz, we're getting out of the jazz realm here and we're getting into the rock and roll. My favourite drummer of all time, bam, this great man here, Levon Helm. This is the band's second album, the Brown album, or their self-titled album. Singer, drummer, cool guy. Look at that picture. Is that not just the best band picture you've ever seen of the band? Everyone loves this album. Levon Helm, if I'm lucky enough to have a son one day, his name will be Levon. He's a hero to me. I mean, go and get The Last Waltz. Watch The Last Waltz, the first 5 minutes, and he's going to be your favourite drummer too. Anyway, jazz drummers, and just a little one there for my own, to let you know about. I'm the Jazz Warlock. Friday night, jazzing out. Have a good one, guys. I'm out.